Welcome to Northeast Florida's Continuum of Care virtual training for the annual point in time count. This year, we'll be conducting our count on Wednesday, January 23rd, 2019. During this training, we will review what the point in time count is, why we conduct these counts, when and where we will conduct the count, how we collect the information, and what you can expect as a volunteer. Before we begin our point in time count training, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce you to our agency. We are Changing Homelessness. Our organization was formed in 1974 by a group of concerned and engaged social service agencies and religious leaders. The mission of Changing Homelessness is to guide the community effort to prevent and end homelessness by providing leadership, advocacy, support, standards, and funding. As the area lead agency on homelessness, we foster communication and provide training to 40 member agencies that offer direct services to people in need. Always in search for new grants and funding opportunities for our mission, we are also in charge of providing data collection coordination for these services through the Homeless Management Information System, ensuring useful data with the highest integrity possible. We analyze this data and trend changes occurring in the populations our member agencies serve. We are proud that our community has seen an 80% reduction in veteran homelessness, a 50% reduction in chronic homelessness, and a 30% decrease in overall homelessness since 2009. We do this work by advocating and educating with the goal to end homelessness. We understand the value of building and sustaining relationships with local, state, and national government officials. Together with our consortium of member agencies, we work to develop performance standards in order to determine the most effective and efficient use of funding in the community. We provide ongoing training to continually improve service delivery, and we disseminate best practices to ensure the most effective data-driven methods are implemented throughout the continuum to end homelessness for good. One of the best methods of determining progress is through the use of point-in-time counts. Alternatively referred to as street counts or homeless counts, pit counts are an annual census and survey of the homeless population. The point-in-time is an activity that was required by the Department of Housing and Urban Development and is to be administered during the last 10 days of January. As the lead agency, one of our primary responsibilities is to organize the pit count for the community. And without the help of our volunteer base, we would not be successful with benchmarking our community's progress in ending homelessness. This event truly does take a village, and it is very much driven by the amount of volunteers and coverage we have throughout the counties. The point-in-time count is designed to be a snapshot of the homeless population on any given night and collects data from two different categories: sheltered and unsheltered homeless persons. Sheltered homeless individuals include persons staying in emergency shelter and transitional housing programs. Unsheltered homeless individuals include persons staying in any situation not meant for human habitation, such as on the streets, in parks, abandoned buildings, or under bridges. By signing up, you are volunteering to help with the unsheltered count, and we sincerely appreciate your commitment to doing so. To help illustrate how we benchmark our progress, let's take a look at some of the data from our most recent pit count. As shown by the charts, our homeless population decreased by 4%, or 75 persons, between 2017 and 2018. Additionally, by utilizing certain markers in the data collection process, we are able to measure and monitor various subpopulations, such as families with children, youth ages 18 to 24, chronic homeless, and veteran homeless. You may be starting to wonder why we collect this information. The information we collect is primarily used to assess the needs of the community. It gives us the opportunity to take inventory of the resources currently available in the service system and helps us identify what resources we are missing or may need more of. We also use the information to gain a better understanding of various populations by identifying who they are, where they came from, and how long they've been homeless. Finally, this information allows us to develop a community plan to address the needs of the population as we continue the mission to seek an end to homelessness. As you can see, the PIT count covers a large geographic area. While a majority of homeless services are located in Duval County, we want to make sure we can get an accurate count as we can in our more rural neighboring counties. Each county is subsequently divided into zones to help us keep the information as specific to certain locations as possible. Due to the large geographic area we cover, we have a varying schedule of activity throughout the day. In Duval County, we start in the urban core or downtown Jacksonville between the hours of 5 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. We'll move to the Clara White Meal Line between 8 and 10. The youth count will conduct from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The overnight emergency shelter count will happen between 2 and 5 p.m. And finally, the West Side, North Side, Arlington, and Beach Boulevard areas will be covered between 4 and 7 p.m. In the beaches, we do 2 shifts, one in the early morning between 5 and 7:30 a.m. and another in the evening between 4 and 7. In Clay County, we can canvass that area between 4 and 7 p.m. And finally, Nassau will conduct our count between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. We facilitate the information gathering process by administering interview survey-based questions with individuals we encounter during the count. Volunteers will be deployed in groups of 2 or 3 to count and interview homeless individuals and families in the specific geographic areas throughout the 3 counties. We will have a paper-based and electronic-based version of the survey tool available. The electronic-based survey will be accessible by smartphones. However, if you are not comfortable with this option, the paper surveys will be just fine. Each team will be provided with clipboards, pens, and survey tools. The survey is completely voluntary. If an individual is not comfortable speaking with you, this is fine. Simply thank them for their time, offer a hygiene kit, and move on. You can record your observation of their basic demographic information on the PIT observation tool your team will be provided. Copies of the survey tool and the PIT observation tool will be emailed to you a few days prior to the count to help you familiarize yourself with the content. For those of you who are new to the count, here are a few helpful tips you can use to ensure that you are creating the best experience possible for you and the person you are interviewing. Most importantly, be respectful of people and boundaries. You are essentially entering their home for the night, so be sure to call out with a greeting and introduce yourself. Explain why you're there and that you would like to speak with that person. Meet people where they are. If someone is sitting or laying on the ground and you are physically able to, sit down or squat down next to them rather than standing over them while you speak. This helps show a sign of respect and helps the other person feel more comfortable with you. If carrying a flashlight and working in the dark, please pay attention to how you're holding the flashlight and where the flashlight is shining, so that you're not directly shining light into their face. Instead, you may find it comfortable to shine the light up towards your face so that you can be more identifiable to them and that they are more familiar with who they're speaking with. If a person is awake and they consent to complete the survey, simply spend the time speaking with them, asking them the questions, and then leave them with a hygiene kit at the end. If a person is sleeping, please do not try to physically wake them in any way. You may call out to them a few times. If they do not respond, simply collect as much identifying basic demographic information you can on the sheet and note the location. If the person is covered in blankets and bundled up, just simply count the amount of bodies that you found in that location. More helpful outreach tips will be provided with the survey email you will receive in a few days before the count. In regards to the information we collect, we try to focus specifically on basic demographic information for each household. We would like to capture the location, whether it be the name of the park, a street name, the intersection, the number of persons in the household. For each person in the household, we would like to get their age, gender, ethnicity, and race. For each adult in the household, we ask additional questions to determine their veteran status, the length of time they've been homeless, the number of times that they've been homeless, their disability status, and their disability category, such as mental health related issues, physical disability, or substance abuse related issues. Please be mindful and monitor the forecast predicted for January 23rd. We know that on any given day in Northeast Florida, it can be extremely cold or a rather warm day. Volunteers can expect to be outside canvassing their areas for 2 to 3 hours. Wear comfortable and weather-appropriate clothing and shoes. We encourage you to bring a flashlight if you are volunteering during non-daylight shift hours. And finally, you can expect a life-changing experience. I know that sounds like a large statement, but really the point in time will offer you with a very intimate look at what life looks like without stable housing, and will help form a better understanding of how individuals may find themselves in those situations. You will also encounter that more likely than not, individuals that you interview are more than willing to share their stories and tell you about their situations. Please be prepared to have to redirect conversations if a conversation or survey interview is exceeding 15 minutes. In addition to doing the point in time count, there are other ways that you could help volunteer. You could assist by helping us staff the headquarter locations, help with the data entry process, help assemble hygiene kits, or collect donations. But mainly, one of the greatest ways that you can volunteer is by continuing to keep up the great work that we're all doing. As a final reminder, and thank you, we just want to point out that you are now part of changing homelessness. We appreciate your time and commitment to this event and hope that you enjoy your time spent canvassing the streets of Northeast Jacksonville, Clay, and Nassau counties. If you're interested in registering to volunteer for the point in time count, you can follow the link provided below to reach our registration page. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to the phone number below or email us at pit@changinghomelessness.org, and we'd be happy to answer or discuss the point in time event further with you. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for attending our training.